Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode 202. Oh boy, we're talking about one of the most weirdest episodes of the entire series of Case Closed, episode 1089, The Genius Restaurant. A Detective Boys episode where, I can't believe I'm saying this for quite a while, the writer forgot Anita existed. Yes, Anita. Or Hybra, it's like they wrote this episode to feature Detective Boys, but you don't feature Hybra. As far as I can tell, there is no reason for this. Writers of Case Closed, can you please stop this? Please stop forgetting this girl exists. Are you implying this is set before she showed up? You could have stated, nope, you just didn't have her in the episode for no explained reason. Oh, by the way, despite featuring Detective Boys, here's the thing. They are seen briefly at the beginning of the episode and seen during the post-credits. That's it. It's all Conan the whole episode. Where you have them following these three people wearing kimonos, playing instruments, and as thank you for following them, they're giving them candy. Now you would think three strangers giving three kids candy. This seems a bit suspicious. Like, oh, grand opening of the Jakku, yeah, the Jakita. How you pronounce this place in those Japanese? Jara Akari. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. So, yeah, Conan notices later. As basically, like, he doesn't eat the candy. He goes, oh, candy is for kids. And, like, he's a kid. He argues with Kenta. And he proceeds to walk away. Stumbles across an old man who he just accidentally runs into. Picks up his glasses. Yeah, who this guy is? They actually do that after a long flashback that takes up a good 10 minutes of this episode. It feels as though, basically, this episode was supposed to be made sometime prior to this. Because, oh, Conan said, oh, yeah, I've been here 3 months ago. I'm like, really? You never mentioned about this at all. It's like this unknown restaurant that we've never seen before. And it's hid behind bushes. Now, they do explain that he and Rand came here 3 months prior. Where, like, oh, they heard about this guy. He's a genius chef. He makes this wonderful kids meal. And Conan's like, kids meal is a kids meal. And that ticked off the owner chef. The chef owner of this place. Yes, it ticked him off. And I'll get to that. So, then, of course, they have the honor ice meal. Of course, they show a flare flash where they thank them. And, of course, they left. They show the fact that this place has got this aquarium where it picks, like, all the meals. Shows all the meals they have. And then they go to the vending machine and get a meal ticket. Yes, a meal ticket. And then this is also something really weird. It's almost like a lot of this episode was not supposed to be in Case Closed. Case Closed tends to be very realistic, but my god, this is so freaking weird. So, they put the money in for the onion rice, and it just blasts a laser, and it hits the chef's frying pan. And they go sitting on this carousel-style restaurant floor. By the way, this place is huge. Yeah, and this is not a normal restaurant. Carousel? I get the fact the guy like me making food for kids, but wow. He makes the food and delivers the food to them via a rocket ship. Yes, a freaking rocket. A mini rocket. About this freaking big. I'm like, what the heck? And then he drops it off via parachutes. But here's the thing. The parachutes are the bibs to eat this stuff. I'm like, that's ingenious. Eat the food and they leave. And apparently, according to the guy who turns out the old man is the genius chef. And apparently, after Conan's comment, he basically lost his confidence to be a chef. And then apparently he shut down his restaurant, opened up a candy shop. Yeah, apparently over the course of time when he shut it down, trees grow around it, and looks like the place has been like, you can tell the place is abandoned. You think 3 months, like, that looks like it's been abandoned longer than that. Like, look at the inside. Look like the place has been there for years. So Conan proceeds to, like, he's basically forced inside of this restaurant. Yes. Yeah, the three people playing music, it turns out they were in fact his staff. His staff, which is made of him and three other people. 2 guys and a woman. Do we identify who these people are? Nope. By the way, we see a flashback to wearing costumes equivalent of swimwear. Yes, so then Conan goes to sees like I think this was implied to be the same character, so this might look a little different. And he puts on a costume of the kids' meal, which this is from the kids' festival. And apparently the kids pick out this food with a video game controller, with this little thing like you're playing that game where you put a coin in, you little hook, and you get like a toy. It is weird. And then, of course, Conan basically tries to run it and just pushes the chef into this water, which has got spices in it. Yes. And, by the way, they have this thing where Conan, where he's being, like, okay, because the guy's so bitter, he sinks a forklift. A freaking mini forklift on him. And then Conan uses his power shoes to kick his candy, his plum jelly, the thing around, fries the thing, and of course he goes to the top, and of course all go in the water, and then we see communicate via lip reading, where he says next time I'll try your food, and it's like, and he also, and then the guy responds with, a genius always becomes too proud, and a pride becomes for the fall. Yeah. And then we have the credits, and then basically Conan basically saying, hey, next time we go to this restaurant, go to a kids' meal? Like, sure. And that's the episode. I'm like, it's like this episode was meant to be, it's like this is supposed to be a, like, here's the weird thing about this episode. It feels like this should have been one of the OVAs, given the way this episode is. It is weird. This could have been an episode of one of the OVAs, which they haven't done in years. Or it could be a movie. Because that's what I feel like. It seemed like this was like a condensed version of a movie. I'm like, okay. Yes. It's not bad. It's just weird. Oh, by the way, next episode looks a lot more interesting than this. This is not boring. Like, oh. Lasers, this meal ticket stuff. Like, wow. You ever come across a restaurant that has an aquarium, all the food in the water? When people get soggy in there? And by the way, the vending machines are literally cat statues, are basically metal cat statues you put money in. Yeah, instead of a ticket, it's a laser beam. I'm like, wow, oh my gosh. And he used live music this episode. Yeah, apparently they know this episode, like, a lot of music. Like, there is basically music from 11 Striker. This is the original soundtrack. Yeah, this is used for the movie 11 Striker. He's moving 11 Striker, Lost Ship in the Sky, The Raven Chaser, Dimension Sniper. This was a movie that came back in 2014, I think it was. Yeah, it's like they used a bunch of movie soundtracks for this episode for some reason. Capture Her Eyes, Full School of Fear, Lost Ship in the Sky, Crimson Love Letter, and the original soundtrack. I'm like, okay, interesting. Yeah, next episode looks like it's a lot more interesting, where it's called The Co-Participating in a Sleeping Town. Yeah, that feels like a standard Case Closed episode. This does not feel like Case Closed episode. It's almost like this is actually meant for a different series. This is my guess what happened with this episode. That this is a script for a completely different series, but maybe the series got canceled and Case Closed is popular in Japan. So basically they rewrite the script, include the Case Closed characters, because this restaurant, like I mentioned, never appeared before this episode. Never appeared, and I highly doubt it's going to appear ever again. Yeah. And he appears just for this episode. Maybe he was supposed to have a spinoff series of this. Well, given what happened this episode, here's the thing. Would anybody watch a series with this chef and his staff members make food for kids? Would it make a good series? No, not really. It's almost like basically this probably was meant to be another thing, but I think the writer, he must have got turned down so many times for this damn script that they decided to rework it for a Case Closed episode. That is my personal guess what happened. But that is just my theory on the matter, so would I recommend watching the episode? It's up to you. It's not terrible. Okay, so that's episode of you. Next up, got 2 comic corners. I'll call it a night. Okay, next video.